Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Asuri Balde. We are back again on another edition of your favorite morning program. And it's Thursday today. It's the end of the week for the morning show. And, you know, for people like me, my weekend starts, I can say, tomorrow. I mean, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You chill ko yep. Chill ko yep. Wow. So we are back, and if you're just tuning in, welcome to this program. Reminder, the program is sponsored by Q Money, the most reliable mobile wallet in the Gambia. You can top up, you can send credit, you can buy Q Power, and of course, send money to your loved ones from around the world. So keep using the Q Money service, and customer care line is 133 for more information. Now I have Jacqueline Kohli here. Jacqueline, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Balde. Good morning, our viewers. Thank you very much again for tuning in to QTV's this morning program, coming your way from Monday to Thursday from 9 a.m. to 10:25. Grateful for joining us again. Hopefully we have another wonderful discussions today.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. All braced up today. I mean, with, how do I call it? Is it chest belts or waist belts or belting yourself?
Braced up is all right. I mean, you got it so right.
He got it,
but
he got
Balde
it.
being Balde, he had to spoil it sooner or later. Just put the full stop there.
But they are belts. Belts are belts.
All right.
Is it not belts? You have waist belts, you have chest belts, parallel belts, you have, you know, all those horizontal belts. Yeah. So good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, yeah. And you? Jacqueline, still haven't received my mahal.
I told you.
Jesus, I
The
can't
week
believe this.
has ended for us, and
I can't
still
believe this.
you haven't gotten your bahar.
And I
Balde.
didn't ask for it,
No.
he promised.
He promised.
He will receive it one day.
One day.
Fate permitting.
I'm afraid you will have to just forget about the bahar. It's not coming.
Best Banksy Bessie.
All right,
You know?
all right.
Yes, but I mean, confess, you look nice, you look good.
Really?
Right.
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely.
You know, I used to have one of those.
The braces.
Yes.
And guess what? For me, somewhat, I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, can't remember how long ago, our program director, I was at my desk, he just came up and said, Mr. Boot, yeah.
That's a surprise.
Oh.
It was a surprise.
That's
Wow.
Aliu Jallo.
That's Aliu Jallo.
Aliu.
Then I said, all
So
right.
nice of him.
I will also surprise him. I wouldn't tell you when I'm going to have it on.
Okay.
So today I decided that, well, today's the last day of the week. Let me go out on a bang.
Nga gunge sa Thursday, you
Oh,
know.
these are the ones he gave you.
Absolutely.
Very nice. The color,
You
bright
know,
and beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful, but for people like me, when I see these, I think it's old school. I mean,
Is it?
Yeah.
Now
These
this
are
is
things-
steel.
These are
It's steel.
It's steel, but it's something that people have been using in the olden days a lot. I've seen a lot of people with old pictures wearing those.
Oh, I get you. But do you know how much you do today? That's also old school.
A lot of them.
Style,
A lot of-
really.
a lot of
you
them.
recycle.
Right.
It's a
A lot of
constant
them.
recycling
In fact, fashion,
of the old.
fashion
That's
we
right.
recycle it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You
So-
think all these things we are wearing is new? No. If you look at it from back in the days, people have been doing it.
For
wearing it.
instance, that's it. It's just that whether you know or not.
Right.
Over here, I remember when I was doing my viewpoint and I had my bow tie on,
Right.
everybody would call me Larry King. I said, no, actually, for me, the memory is Sir Robin Day. That was much earlier, in
earlier,
England, Larry King, the
right.
American. So this is it. And I'm sure somebody else will say, actually, before Sir Robin Day, there was somebody else. That's it. This is how it goes.
Right.
This is how it goes, really.
Exactly. So that is what it is, you know. So on the program, we'll take a look at the African code. From the code, then we'll look at the newspapers. Then the face of UTG. The team is already upstairs waiting for their time, so we will be able to talk to them. This is the
Face of
second year.
UTG?
Yes.
Is it a beauty pageant?
It
sort
is a
of
beauty
pa-
pageant.
It is a beauty pageant.
beauty
So am I going to stay for a segment?
I'm afraid not.
I think there was a year we invited them on this program. They were doing the face of UTG. So you know, we have an idea of what that is. So it will be a very interesting discussion here, where you need to be qualified to be able to participate, and at the same time, there are certain criteria that you should meet. So those are things that we would be enlightening some of our viewers, especially the students that want to participate.
Exactly.
You know,
I think it's a way of bringing them together in terms like this, fundraising programs like this.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, I mean, we'll also be talking to Ousman Jatta. He is currently with the president on his Meet the People tour. They held their last meeting at Njin Sanjal. And, you know, I've listened to the president interacting with some of the community members, you know, of Njin Sanjal. And, you know, a lot of promises have been made as well when it comes to some of the development projects. And, you know, the community also, you know, manifested some of the things that happened and some of the developments that they are enjoying, the amenities. So those are things too that we'll be discussing on the program. Unfortunately, we wanted to get hold of the agriculture minister because, I mean, it's like most of the people talk about farming, you know, and the minister would have been in a better position to enlighten us on what are they preparing, because we invited him last year on the program, and he said we want to do this and that last year, and whether they've achieved it on. So, but unfortunately, we will not be able to have him. Maybe next week. Yeah. So, Jacqueline Colley.
Yes.
The African.
The African quote of the day is: "The child say what he heard at home. The child says what he has heard."
The child says.
Yes.
Exactly.
The child says what he heard at home. This is very clear.
Absolutely.
It is very clear.
What the child says, he has heard at home.
Yeah.
Okay. What is on the TV screen is different from what I have, but it still means the
what
same
the child
thing.
says, yes. He has heard at home exactly the same.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And I think this has to do with the our environment, the home environment, because whatever you train your child to become, that's what they become.
Absolutely.
That's why you should be careful what you say, what you do around children, because that's how they learn. They learn in the environment that you live in. So the habits that they grow with is because of the environment that they live in. I think that's my own understanding. More to come if I hear from the intelligent man himself.
Well, I mean, most of, I mean, it's prevalent today. Let's take a look at the sample, a very famous, I mean, scenario where the father will tell the child, go and tell him I am not here. And the child will go and tell the man, my father, I said I should tell you he's not here.
Stuff like
you understand?
that.
So these are things that, it's telling you about upbringing. It's telling you the morals. I mean, how are we going to discipline our children? I mean, the child will follow the footstep of the parent, you know. That's why it's important for parents to take their responsibility and stand for their children. Because at some point, if you don't take your responsibility, someone will fit in. And that is going to be the bigger problem, because you don't know the attitude of that individual. So each and every person, it's your responsibility for your child, I mean, to be you know, brought up in a certain way, in a positive way, in a way, every parent wants their children to be better than them. You know, but the positive way.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is a very tricky area, but this is something like I think about, I worry about all the time. We all have children. Well, some of us who have children, you're bound to worry about these things because you know that home environment, that primary nursery, that's what I call it. Everything begins from there. The perceptions of yourself, perceptions of the world. So everything is there. That is the massive responsibility of the home. And this is it. They can make you or break you. This is the thing about it. This is why it is so dangerous. That primary experience can make you or break you, but this is it. So whenever a child opens his or her mouth or they act, you can really work out how things are at home.
Right.
Extraordinary.
Right.
So that must be a focus for any parent. You must really focus in that area. Here, what we used to see, maybe things have changed a little bit. We think that, children, they don't know anything.
Right.
We're always sending you out, go and play. We don't really have time to interact. in some families, you don't really have a conversation.
Right.
You just have parents or adults handing down instructions, directives, do this, don't say anything, shut up, do that. You're not preparing him or her for life. You're really
Definitely
not, you're really not. It's a very, very delicate period.
Right. That's why I thank God for my mom, because like the way she brought us up, like my mom and my siblings, we all are like best friends. We tell her everything and anything.
Absolutely.
Including my personal relationships.
Absolutely.
We tell her everything and anything, and she will give us advice on everything and anything.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's very important. I mean, at some point, that will definitely play a very important role. I mean, to the well-being and also the growth of your children. I mean, you need that connection between the parents to be able to, be brought up soundly at some point. I can see there are parents, at some point who doesn't even have that rapport with their kids.
Yeah, they don't even know what they are up
all
to.
that you see is anger. All that you see is distance. Even if you want to tell your parents something, I mean, at some point you won't be able to tell them.
Right.
So these are things
Of course not. You'll be scared. Here, it's a bit like teachers in the old days. It seems as if they think that kids learn best when they're scared. Strike fear into them, then they will do what you want. I'm like, oh, man, sooner or later, these kids, they conquer their fear. What next? You see, you want to make them do things because they want to. It's the right thing to do.
Right.
You just love, you normalize doing the right thing. Not because you're scared. Nobody's watching over you. So you do the right thing. It is really, it horrifies me. It's so appalling when sort of you need somebody to stand over you, perhaps with a whip, before you do the right thing. So this is it. How do you bring kids up? So this idea of striking fear into them, even our teachers used to be like that.
Right.
But now there's a more liberal, there are new ideas about how you can bring your kids up without that element of fear being part of your tools, your parental tools, as it were. From child psychology, you know so much. It's better to take the other route, love, caring, they trust you. See, when you say they tell them you're going to do something, do it. Let them trust you. Then you can help them. As you said with your mother.
Right.
You always go back to your mother to tell her things.
Right.
That's the only way that your mother can control.
Right.
If it had been out of fear, sooner or later you're going to grow up. And your mother's going to grow old.
Right.
You can just go out and do anything you want.
Exactly.
The fear is gone.
But there is a point to
Fear
I
is
totally
gone.
agree with you. Right.
That's
That's not the way to train
But
your child.
But there is a way to treat your kids in such a way. There will be a boundary. Okay, it's my parent. Whenever it's a serious thing, when they tell me, I will know it's serious. But there are other kids too that even if their parents are serious, they don't take them seriously.
Because of perhaps what the parents did earlier before that.
We have seen all
when
those
I have kids, I don't want to create boundaries with them. Like, I don't know what kind of boundaries you're talking about, but I don't want to create boundaries with my children. I want them to be free as I am with my mom and my dad. I don't want to create boundaries, but they would know that this is my mom, and I have to respect
the boundaries
her.
that I am talking about, I mean, it's not instilling fear into the children, you understand? Boundaries that will be positive, that will help them in the future, you understand? Okay, get up and go to school. Okay, I don't have to be free with my parents to an extent. Even if they tell me go to school, I can still be reluctant and not going to school. So those are the kind of boundaries, in a positive way.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
I get your point as well.
Yes.
That you want to have an open relationship with your kids.
Right.
That's important.
But again, you will understand that regarding your kids, they're going to have discipline. I think that's really what you mean.
Yes.
Discipline.
Right.
I love the idea that really the two qualities that you need to put in your kids are a sense of initiative and discipline.
Right.
I like that, especially the initiative bit, thinking about ideas, sort of to crack problems and to move on. It's a very good adaptive, maybe strategy and discipline. But again, without discipline, I'm not going to achieve anything. If I want to pass, well, I need to sit down and study for hours. It takes discipline to do
To
that.
do that.
Maybe your friends are outside. You know, there are so many distractions, you know, attractive distractions
Right.
outside. You want to go. But it's only discipline that's going to keep you in the house so that you can study. So anything you want to achieve, we all know that you're going to have discipline. If I don't have that, I am unlikely to achieve anything.
For people like me, I mean, maybe some of my friends are watching right now. You know, we have this relation with our parents, with the dad. You know, at some point you will see, I and my brothers, we are 4 brothers. You understand? But at some point, if you come to my home, you cannot differentiate who is the father. Because at some point, we all look like, I mean, we are all age mates. Sometimes people will come to my mom, they're like, I met your brother at home, he said you're out. And that's my dad, not my brother. You understand? So we have that good, I mean, that relation to an extent you cannot differentiate. But we all understand when the dad wants something to be done, the positive way. We all understand, okay, you have to go to school during those days. You have to do this. When the dad said this have to be done, it has to be done. You know, so these are things. It's important to have that relation with your kids. You don't have to instill fear. You don't have to make them run away. If they did not get that comfort from you, if they don't get that connection from you, at the end of the time, they'll get it somewhere.
Absolutely. But there you've just talked about really 2 different things. It's very interesting. You sort of talk about the social hierarchy. We all know our place in the family, as
Right.
it were, yes? And the discipline that sort of imposes on you. I'm talking about the other one, the self-discipline. There's nobody there, it's just me. Imagine if I were today to send you over to the US or to England. You're going to
Right.
university to study.
Right.
You don't have your parents, you don't
Nobody's
have anybody there. It's just you.
Alone.
This is why it is so significant what parents put in you.
When you were a toddler, small child, when you were growing up, you understand? At some point, there is a time that you get to life, even if your parents are not there, you know how to move. But it starts from the initial stage.
That is why if it is something based on fear, well, when the person I fear is not
It's
around,
not there. I'll just do whatever I
I'll
want.
just do whatever. So it's not a smart, as it
It's
were,
not a
card.
smart choice.
It's not a smart card at all.
Right.
That sort of thing. You're not really preparing me for self-sufficiency, that self-discipline that would see me through all sorts of things, even though there's nobody there, there's no authority there. Self-authority, self-mastery. That's the key, you know, self-mastery. So that's how the household helps.
Conscience.
That's why I'm just completely obsessed. I've got young kids, so I'm constantly watching, constantly listening, always sort of trying to, you know, to guide, because we know how delicate this period is.
Right.
Exactly.
I like what Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, said something, used this analogy, which I find really intriguing. He said, sort of teaching, educating kids and that sort of thing, bringing them up. It's a bit like buttoning your shirt. If you get the first stage wrong, you are likely to get everything else wrong.
Right.
Isn't it?
You have to go
If
back.
you get the first one wrong,
Right.
that's it.
Right.
Everything else will be wrong. Then I thought about it. I said, everything is a link, the one phase linking onto another, onto another, onto another. And when you get the base wrong, imagine you're building your house. You get the base wrong. I think that's what he's talking about. How far up can I go?
It will fall. If the foundation is not strong,
How
you cannot
far
hold the
up can I
building.
go?
Train a tree when it
That's
is young.
it's an extraordinary thing, really. So I love his metaphor of
Right.
buttoning the shirt.
But let's take a look at the generation now and then. You know how the issue of discipline was carried out. I mean, I think now parents have a very important role. They should double their efforts in putting their children on track. The advent of social media, you know, a lot of things, a lot of civilization today we are seeing. Then we don't have that. I mean, maybe, okay, fine, parents would have been struggling with something then during your days. You understand? But today, in fact, there is a bigger addition to the disciplining system of our children. So I think disciplining now is even more difficult than before.
Before, our time anyway, disciplining in many ways meant hitting. My generation, we were all beat up.
Punishment.
All the time. You do something, they beat you up. So that was really what we knew of discipline. In fact, I often say, let's analyze the Olaf word, yar. It's a very dangerous word.
Yeah.
It's got it's a pun, it's like a pun. Yar can mean upbringing,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and also means the cane.
Wow.
Unfortunate, that's
In
it.
fact,
And you miss the
The
cane.
cane drives its word from
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
yar, discipline.
That's it. But that was the old way. Humanity, anywhere in the world, for a very long time, that was how adults dealt with the younger ones. But gradually, we started getting more knowledge about human beings. It's all about human nature.
Right.
We did so much studies on this, knowing that hitting kids, it affects something in them psychologically. That much we know. And if you hit too much, we know that if you test them, they tend to fail IQ tests. There's a direct link between learning, that capacity to learn, and how you've been hit at home. It was quite strange when they discovered it in studies.
Right. And Balda, talking about the rise of social media, my mom would tell me during their days, like, they will all sit together and watch TV, either, you know, have these evening snacks they call ringon, something like that. But nowadays, you go to household and they will tell you, why?
Absolutely.
They have their phones, they have internet,
Absolutely.
they barely sit together as a family to interact. And that sort of teaches children to these things like discipline, home bringing. We don't have that nowadays.
And, you know, nowadays, kids of this generation are more attached to telephones. If I close from work, the kids want to take my mobile phone. They want to take their mother's mobile phone. You understand? They'll be on the phone almost the whole night. Sometimes you have to tell them, please place that phone and you go to bed. Tomorrow is school.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. Yeah, when I was at QIT, I remember this particular morning, just before students went to their classes, I went into what they call the student lobby, you know, where they waited. It was pretty full, but there wasn't much talking.
Everybody
the office,
was...
yes. So I got out, I stood at the door, everybody in their phone.
Was on their
So
phones.
I ran over to the staff room. I called one of the teachers. I said, come, look at this. Look. I said, our children, society is changing right before our eyes.
Right.
When we were kids, it was never like that.
It was
of course,
never
it was
like
going to be loud and rowdy.
Right, everyone will be interacting.
Nothing anymore. We're changing. But there's something else. So-called social commentators, we are not really analyzing it. You see, the newspaper or the press, that's where the country has its intellectual conversation. We're not having any intellectual conversation on this. When I read papers in Britain or in America, they're worried about this. What kind of kids are emerging? They're not even very sporty that much anymore. And everything, they get their world from social media. We're not having a conversation, you know, what people are like. Except we are not doing that. When I talk to people, actually, they show some remarkable naivety, telling us, oh, kids are getting smarter, oh, they know this and that. I'm like, that's not true. When you look at the studies, that is not true at all. So I do not know where we're going. Most of, you know, when you talk to all of these kids, they know about the apps, obviously.
Right.
And they can give you fragmentary stuff. Engage anybody on a sustained conversation, they become confused quickly.
Right.
Critical thinking isn't there, not quite there. And it's just, I do not know. But the kind of conversation that we should be having here, we are not. We've taken this naive view of this modern technology, I think.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. That's the order of the day now. I mean, technology is taking its toll on our society.
It has a good impact, but then again,
It's neutral.
it's neutral. Right.
Depends on what you use it for.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's always neutral. So that is why you need to have that conversation. And at the schools, you need to have digital literacy.
Right.
You need to discuss this to help kids to digest what
Right.
is going on, contextualize it. But you need the parent to actually understand the historical movement. As it
And
were.
even
You
all
need
these
the parent
apps
to
that we're
understand
using,
it.
especially TikTok. You know, it's a Chinese app, I think. The person that made TikTok is a Chinese. And I was told that in China, when you're a kid, the certain videos that come on your feed is those that teach you stuff about science, technology, and others. But when you go to other countries, it's different.
That's it.
It's different.
China, they control.
They control.
Absolutely.
They control everything.
They understand about environment
Right.
and bringing up kids,
Exactly.
that sort of thing. Well, in the West, they say they've got this liberal model. They just allow everything, and tech companies are very, very powerful.
Right.
So, see, with democracies, this is the thing with democracies, politicians will be very careful. Even a billionaire like Elon Musk, they know how much I can influence elections. So politicians will always have one eye on elections.
Right.
So that really sort of influences their decisions. In China, nobody thinks about elections. She has this maybe 50-year plan.
Right.
See, they're so patient, the Chinese. So it's completely different, but they understand these things and they're controlling it. In the longer term, which one is a better model? I'm not sure. I cannot decide.
You cannot
In the longer
decide,
term, I do not know.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the stories making headlines on our newspapers, and I'm pretty sure we have some of the papers here. Cannabis gum, a recipe for severe oral health. I mean, the Foreign newspaper is saying it, and they're showing a very disturbing picture of a man and his teeth, if you can see that. A recipe for severe oral health, cannabis itself. Yeah, so some people said cannabis is the healing.
Oh yes, in some things. That much we know scientifically.
It's a healer.
It can do certain things. It's got medicinal properties.
Okay.
That much we know scientifically. What is the issue? Because here
Well,
it's a stigmatized thing, so anybody is using it, yeah, this, that, or the other. But people do not really know what cannabis is. What are the constituents, the chemical constituents? What does it do? You need to do these scientific experiments to get the knowledge. So here we just use what we call folksy wisdom. This is just folksy wisdom. No science behind it whatsoever. But when you read the science, then you see it.
You will understand, there are health benefits.
Absolutely, there are health benefits. And
But
they give
Boy,
it, they prescribe it.
The way we use cannabis in our region here, we abuse it. We use it to
recreationally
intoxicate ourselves.
We use it recreationally. Everywhere else in the world, they use it recreationally. So we are not any different from anywhere else. That's what it is. Each country, each society, you may have your laws, whatever you do, fine, it's up to you. But there are certain things that we know about cannabis. And in other societies, they will try to take advantage of that positive use and use it that way. If you want to have a blanket ban on it, well, it's your choice, you know.
I guess it's because of the amount of damage that has been reported about cannabis. That is why it is regarded as something really, really bad. But like you mentioned, scientifically, there are benefits of cannabis. But the bad aspect of it is what most people advocate
In fact, we are
against.
talking about the bad aspect of
Right.
Okay, such as what?
Well,
Name for me 3 bad aspects of it.
Number one, when you smoke cannabis, you become intoxicated. You
Then you do what?
You can even lose your mind when it comes to cannabis. You can.
And do you know that?
Doesn't it damage the lungs?
No, you see, when you use cannabis, you become high. That's what they call it.
That's the high we are talking about.
So when you use alcohol, you become intoxicated.
Right.
I'm just trying to bring these
Right.
distinctions here.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And we know that with some people, it's not across the board, from studies we know that with some people, it can give you psychological problems. That much we know, absolutely. You know, that sort of thing.
Especially,
Yes. And some people used to think that it was a kind of gateway drug. You start using cannabis, sooner or later you'll graduate onto heroin, coke, and that sort of thing. But scientific studies sort of put that to bed. Not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So yes, recreational use, yeah, some people think that it should be banned. Nobody should do that. It's got nasty side effects, but there are others who have different views. So it just depends on what a society wants to do in many ways. And what an individual wants to do. In the end, it's about you as an individual. You might be introduced to it. Perhaps the better thing to say is just stay off.
Stay off, right.
But we know that that has never worked just say no, that's what they used to call it, the just say no campaign, it has never worked.
So, Mr. Mboj, what are you telling me? We should take
Think
a look
for
at,
yourself.
We should take a look at the positive aspect of cannabis.
Well, I want to treat anything according to its own nature. What does the science tell me? I know that this is what folks in my street, this is what they're saying. What does the science tell me? And I, as a character, individual, what do I want to do? In the end, it's about individual choice.
Yeah, it's an individual choice, right?
Yes, there's a press release just, coming in. Appointments and redeployments within the Gambia Civil Service.
Is Balde okay? Balde seems a little off today. He's not that energetic. He's sitting like...
I've not eaten my breakfast.
Okay.
Banjul, the Gambia, in consultation with the Republic Service Commission and consistent with the Gambia government's policy of enhancing productivity among its workforce, the foreign appointments and redeployments within the civil and foreign service have been effected. Professor Ousman Jatta, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, is to be appointed as ambassador of the Gambia to Morocco.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Yusuf Toure, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, reassigned as Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health. And of course, we have Mrs. Jaina Bajang, Ambassador of the Gambia to the African Union in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, is recalled and promoted as PS, Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology. And of course, we have Mrs. Salimatu E.T. Toure, former Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, to be appointed as Ambassador of the Gambia to African Union, Ethiopia. And we have Mrs. Safi Sankare, PS, Ministry of Lands, Regional Governments and Religious Affairs, is reassigned to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Mrs. Ndai Marinjai, PS, Ministry of Youth and Sports, is reassigned to the Ministry of Lands, Regional Governments and Religious Affairs. Mrs. Aji Fantasise, DPS, Ministry of Health, is now DPS, Office of the President. Ms. Hule Kamara, DPS, Office of the President, is reassigned as DPS, Ministry of Health. All appointments and redeployments are effective immediately. Ibrahim G. Sankare, the Gambia government spokesperson and presidential diaspora advisor.
Okay.
Yes.
Not much to say.
It happens. It's normal.
Right.
We
used to call it reshuffle, isn't
reshuffle,
it? Like
right. Because we've seen
a lot of those things, happening. Yeah, so, that cannabis thing, in fact, is reminding me of Banki, our presidential aspirant, the guy, the Rasta guy, that said Gambia should be farming, a lot of cannabis, to be able to meet up its economic challenges, So people have their own ideology and the way we think, you understand? For that was his campaign promise, really?
I think, please, you don't really take me there. Do you think that our economic problems, if we all started farming cannabis or whatever, then it will be solved, our problems will be solved? That's a no-go area. I wouldn't even think like that. Let us be more realistic, you know what I mean? If we can harness the medicinal aspects, we do. And then how do you control really recreational use? Because you want to protect children. You see, you want to protect minors, that sort of thing. Only adults really can have this individual choice that we were talking about. That's for adults. Our kids, we need to protect them. That is why perhaps it's easier in countries where they've been legalized. We know where the shops are. We know who the owner is. You are registered, you pay your taxes, and then you are giving certain conditions. It can be controlled. It's just that when it's underground, all these kids, who's going to control it?
You're right.
That sort of thing. This is really what the issue is. When it's underground, then anything goes.
Anything goes.
Okay, let's proceed. Presidential tour, residents of Kir Ardo call for health facility and school furniture. So...
I think we'll have that.
Yes,
right. We should have a B-roll on that.
Exactly, and President Barrow promises to examine poor groundnut produce to help farmers.
Like the minister said yesterday, they're working on it because they've had problems of, those farmers that planted their groundnuts later. Like when you crack the groundnut, there's little seeds there. So that's their problem. So
The
they're
knots
trying
are
to
little, very small.
They are trying to find out what really happened, what really the problem is.
That's it.
Right, because
And
it's
those affected, how can they help, isn't it?
Right.
Or so how do you deal with the problem anyway?
most definitely, yes. That's what he talked about yesterday, and hopefully we'll get a report after.
Okay, farmers rejoice over giraffes 42 million matching $1 matching grants.
Right.
Yes, I mean during this tour, I mean they're busy giving farmers token of money to help support their farming activities.
Right.
You know, through a project, giraffe matching grant, which is very significant. It will go a long way. It's like the farmers are definitely coming out, I mean, to voice what their concerns are, and some of them are also getting help from you know, the government of the Gambia through its donors.
I mean, that's what the tour is about,
this is
right?
what we said yesterday.
Right.
Some people would behave this way, would be, you know, satisfied by what it is, and others wouldn't. Rarely would you satisfy everybody in a group.
Right.
You know, especially these massive, big groups. So this, you're bound to see this mixed, as it were, reactions to what the president does.
And talking about this grant, as reported by Ousman Jatta, that yesterday the president also gave $50 million from that giraffe project to 43 farmers in the lower and central Badibu. That is meant to help boost their production. It's a very...
But for me, my main concern is now, how are we going to manage those finances? I mean, that is it. We've seen organizations here, I mean, who were given money, I mean, not during Barrow's time, but Jammeh's time. And the people responsible for dispensing those finances, I mean, to benefit these women or farmers, some of them abscond with that money. So how are we going to make sure we put everything in place? That's the thing.
But this time I think it is given directly to the farmers. Am I not right? I don't think there is a chance of...
Well, it's a bulk. It's a bulk. It's a bulk. But, you know, after giving the bulk, this money will be dispensed to the various individuals. So before they dispense, that's the thing. That's what I'm talking about.
This is sort of like the $64 million question, isn't it? How do we bring back trust amongst ourselves? So this is it. Some people do say that I'm going to put it in wall of, whenever it comes to money, then they're goradi. It's an extraordinary, it's an extraordinary situation. That's about the personal integrity, and it really means so much to you. It's not about public perception, but it's about you, the relationship you have with yourself. But here it seems, whenever money is involved, that's it. That principle, that noble principle of being God, just flies out of the window. It's extraordinary. Some people say that maybe in Africa there's only one value, money. Then we are done for as a society. There are no other values but materialism. The materialism over here is extraordinary. When I see people in business, everybody is in debt, but we don't pay back. You have to chase them all the time. There's very low public trust. Then how can you get things done?
No way.
And you can only get things done as a group, really. Some people say that hope is a group project. We are failing because as a group we are not working.
Right. Bobby, we have something else?
Yes, I mean, let me tell
you, you're going to have issues like that. You know, the money, who's going to spend it? We'll be complaining about all sorts of things.
Well,
misspent, mismanaged, I don't know.
Ghana to expand the Ecowas free roaming to Gambia.
That's cool.
It's the free movement of goods and services. The Ecowas trade. I mean, people can be allowed to move about without any issues. You know, but
theoretically,
I have a problem.
Ideally, that's
I have a problem.
What you experience on the ground and the globe.
I have a problem with the free movement of goods and services within ECOWAS.
Why?
Mr. Momodou Mbodj, even leaving Gambia to Senegal, to get into Senegal, you know, with your goods, is a problem. You understand? When I talk about it, people will be like, "Do you have a proof?" I don't even need to go get a proof. It's an experience. I experience it, you know. I have been I was forced to pay a token of money from one checkpoint to another checkpoint until I got into Dakar, you know. So these are things that the ECOWAS talk about, free movement of people. They give us the ECOWAS ID card, you know, the ECOWAS biometric passport, all those things. But I find them very useless.
People who travel to Guinea-Bissau, I know quite a few, I don't, they tell you the same thing. At the checkpoint, you'll tell them, I've got this paper, I got that paper. They don't even look at you, they don't care about that. So this is it. We've got our politicians and the state bureaucracy, that's one thing. And you've got your population, your people, that's quite another. That means nothing. All of that is just paper. Now the experience on the ground, this is why this project is going to take a very, very, very long time.
Absolutely.
Because if you do not enlist the people generally, it's not going to work.
It's not.
So God knows for how long.
You know, interestingly, there was a time last month I was discussing with one of our relatives. He came from Manda Douane in Senegal. He said to me, I stayed a long time at a checkpoint just around Manda Douane. I mean, because when you are leaving the Gambia to Manda, you need to pay a token, like $200, you need to pay that. When you are coming again, regardless of the payment you made previously, you still need to pay again.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I said, and I asked him, do you have all the papers? He said, I got all my IDs and everything.
Course.
I said, why are they asking you to pay? He said, you have to pay. That's a rule there.
It's just the way we do things.
And they're not even justified.
And
Why are you
got all
paying?
the papers.
That's just the way we
They
do
got
things.
all the
Wow.
papers. So he said, even if it's you, you're going to pay. I said, we're going to spend the night there. I'll not pay.
This is it.
Yeah.
So this is what they call sort of extractive institutions. Somehow, post-independence Africa, this is what we've seen with institutions. They're always taking from the people. They call it rent collecting. It's almost like they're collecting rent from the people. Anything you want from the state, it will eat so much from you. So it's an extractive institution. This is the colonial setup, but somehow after independence, we've not been able to break this thing. But maybe people who are benefiting do not want to. They do not want to break this because of their benefiting. But all our institutions are extractive. They're just here to exploit us. Ordinary people, yes, they're being exploited by institutions, state institutions. This is the unbelievable thing in Africa. And the people who won the Nobel Prize for Economics this year said as much. Really, this is what they said. Where you have institutions that always take from their populations, you are never going to have economic development.
Definitely not.
Now we're beginning to get the picture. Because of the way we are, we're really never going to have economic development. For a long time, we were using the West. All the West doing this, they're doing that, IMF, World Bank. Yes, they're doing what they're doing. Well, we are also doing what we're doing. Absolutely. That way.
Absolutely. So that is it. When they talk about free movement of goods and services, sometimes I tend to wonder.
There isn't nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
There's nothing like that.
It's more of an ideal, it's an
Right,
ambition.
right.
That's what we want eventually.
If it happens, it's going to be good. But for now, there isn't anything like that.
In fact, what is the use of that chip that we have on our ID cards? I mean, at some point, I've never seen people using it. I've never seen any system where you can slot in your ID and it gives you all the information.
That's
about
it, yes. The technology is really not around. With us, what we want is that we want to be part of the mainstream,
Right.
you know, of the technological game, whatever's going on. But we do not quite have the infrastructure.
We do not.
That's it. So it doesn't quite yield what it should, you know, the kind of outcome it should. So we are always halfway between things. We want to get things so much, yet it doesn't quite work as it should. Then we are not seeing the benefits that we should be seeing. That is really what our problem is. We are not really seeing benefits that much.
Hopefully we grow out of it.
So taxi drivers are also talking about the hike of fuel.
When?
Well, they're talking about it. They said
commercial
commercial
I don't
drivers
think so.
lament fuel price hike.
When?
I've not heard about the
Any recent one?
Probably there is an increment.
Probably
we did
not.
realize it. Probably not.
Right.
Yes, for me, I don't know, because normally what I do, I just come, tell you, pump this thing for me. And
But
I
we
don't
will
even-
hear. There will be press releases.
But is that a newspaper report?
Yes,
It
it's a
is.
newspaper.
I do hope that the journalist has gone into this and looked at when was the last price hike and really interrogate
Right.
the statements being given.
Right.
Just because somebody gives you a statement
Doesn't
doesn't
mean it's
necessarily mean
true.
it's true.
Right.
That's it. Assertion is not proof.
These drivers will always tell you fuel for share. They will always say that.
It's in your
But-
interest
Right.
to raise the the fare.
Right.
Well, Sadafasir,
Okay.
it's expensive.
You have a car, I don't. So
Well, it's almost, petrol is almost $80 per liter. A thing that before you buy it for $42 per liter. And it goes to $80. Look at that hike.
but the headline is saying hike, like there's been a recent.
As if that there's been a recent increase in
Right.
the price of this.
Right.
But
Somebody just confirmed it is true.
what
Who?
is true?
Someone confirmed it is true, they have added it. Maybe
Okay,
we'll
when?
get
Who is that
press
someone?
release.
Okay, ask the person
You
when.
know?
When?
Okay, all
When?
right. It should be unanimous. I mean, let's give it. Let's leave that under the carpet. But probably we might. Oh, I can now remember. That's why a colleague yesterday asked me in the office, "What's the price of fuel?" I didn't know. Yeah. So let's move on. Probably we'll get a press release, and they will update us more on this. But
Are we still going to talk to Ousman and our guys? It's 9:49.
yeah, Ousman will be here. We are trying to get hold of him.
Okay.
Government nominates reparations commissioners. It's been too long, huh?
Oh, well, this was always going to take a long time. It's going to be a sort of complex logistical nightmare. Oh, how do you calculate that, calibrate reparations? What would be money? What would be in kind? Or what else?
Right.
And we've never had this before. We don't have experience.
We don't have
in
experience. It's our
this
first
sort
time,
of thing
so.
before. And it's also sort of a government in transition.
Right.
It's a state in transition, really. So this is going to be a tough one.
Yes.
So do we know the commissioners?
Well, they are not stated. It's
Not
just
stated.
a headline there. And probably we'll get an insight of who the commissioners are. Yeah, so Mr. Momodou Mbodj, I mean, let's still move on. Jacqueline, do you have anything there that you want us to
No, the
delve-
papers are in your hands today.
you want us to delve into? Let's take a look at the Fourier newspaper again. Deputy Mayor, says KMC lacks power to suspend Seinabu Martin.
Still on Senator Martin?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing process. There is no conclusion yet. So time to time, we will see it popping on the newspapers. KMC, actually, they have a limited power to execute certain things. The Minister for Local Government, and they are the ones responsible for executing certain kind of conditions. So.
Absolutely. A good number of people have now for a long time said that you should give more power to local government because there are certain developmental projects really the appropriate body to implement would be local government. They know their area. Imagine each local government authority. You focus on your area, you know what to prioritize. That's a better developmental model. Each area would be catered for. It's better than having a kind of central body wanting to do all sorts of things, perhaps even finding itself in a situation where it wants to impose one size fitting all. So without local government, sort of the kind of state institutions that we inherit from the British system, and really we are essentially the British system, local government is very much part of implementing government policies as it were. But here, it seems that we've got this sort of toxic relationship now between local government and sort of the central government because of the party affiliations and all of that. But we have to be mature about these things. We can belong to different parties, but because we have the interest, the developmental interest of an area at heart, we can agree on so much as it were. But we've allowed party politics to get in the way of good practice in doing governance.
Right.
So that is really what the issue is. But the system of governance that we've inherited, that was the logic behind it. If you're going to break that logic, give me another system.
Right.
You know what I mean? Give me
Right.
another system.
Right.
But as long as you persist in this, breaking the logic, it is not going to work for you. You're not going to see anything.
I agree.
So when we break the logic, we should...
Invent your own system. But we know that this system, the logic why we've put it this way is because of A, B, C, and D. That's when you can really get the outcomes you want. But I so-called bring the system over, but I'm not following the logic. Then I'm not going to see the outcomes. So we can just sit here and talk about this till the cows come home. We've been doing this for a very long time. Yeah, but you know, it's like I want to pass my exams, but I'm not studying. Well, you're going to fail.
You definitely. You're
So
going
if
to
I do
fail.
not apply it, I'm not going to see it. So it's a nation, you decide what you want to do.
Someone
Right.
sent a message from Farafenye, Chakubantang, and said, okay, I mean, the fares been raised from 150 to 200 without even knowing the reason. You know,
What fares? What do you mean?
the fares from Bara
Bar,
to
okay.
Farafenye.
Now it's what, $200?
200.
And it used to be 150.
150.
Can you imagine the hike?
$50.
Maybe if you had said, I don't know, 160, 170,
175.
this is, you know, but the hikes are just unbelievable. 50%, 100%, that's the sort of things that you see here.
Right.
It's extraordinary.
It is. It is.
Exactly. So, Mr. Momodumbo, thank you very much for joining us. I mean, and reviewing these papers with us. Oh, Jacqueline, do you have anything for Mr. Momodumbo?
No, just thank you.
Before he leaves?
Cheers.
Yeah.
Just thank you.
Oh, we have
It's a
Ousman on the line.
Oh,
We
fi-
do?
fi- finally.
Let's engage Ousman together. And, you know, Mr. Jatta is with the president tour. They are currently touring the whole nation. I mean, they'll be hosting 20, meetings. The purpose of the tour is to engage, the citizens of this country, and they'll also share the president what their pressing issues are. And Mr. Jatta been with the tour from day one, and now he will update us as to what is currently going on and the president's previous meetings. Yes, Mr. Jatta, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Balde.
It's good to have you on QTV this morning. Unfortunately, yesterday we couldn't proceed with the conversation due to the connection issue. I am pretty sure, the meeting at Kir Ardo was a successful one. And can you update us as to what the president engagement was?
Thank you very much, Mr. Balde. It was a very interesting engagement with the people of Kir Ardo. They have welcomed the idea of the president coming to visit them to know their challenges, and they have also talked about various things they think the president should help them work on. One of the things was the area of road infrastructure. They have not got proper roads connecting them to other satellite villages, going to Kerawan. So the president, there is one thing they have called on the president to help with, equally as well, chairs for their school, newly constructed school, electricity, which is already coming. We have seen poles that are already installed. So but it will be important for you to know that the president has now passed the North Bank region. Now he is in the Central River region, and that is where he is having his meeting. And the tour, generally, it is going very smoothly from what we have seen from yesterday's meeting in Nyani and in Same constituency in the Central River region north. And most interestingly, in Nyame, the president has received a warm welcome from the people because he has managed to fulfill their promise of making sure that he provides them with road infrastructure. Because you could recall before 2017, Nyamija was kind of landlocked. It does not have proper roads. People couldn't access it, so it was totally blocked. But when the president came, he promised them in 2017 that he's going to provide them with road networks. And that is one thing he did. He also provided electricity for them. He provided boreholes for them and health posts. And this is one thing that the villagers was very appreciative of. So it shows a very crucial role that the government is playing. And he has also launched various project sites. We have seen a 6-kilometer road project that is already launched in the village of Nario. It's a very remote village that does not have access to proper roads. So it has been battling with that for decades. And now the president has already launched the project and it is going smoothly.
We've also seen the president awarding entrepreneurs and young farmers the merchant grant finance to support their farming activities. What can you tell us about that?
Quite impressive. It's a project that is geared towards empowering farmers, towards helping farmers to boost their productivity. Because in the Gambia, we have got local farmers, farmers that are into poultry farming, farmers that are into fish farming, and various forms of agro businesses. But most of them are doing it at small scale level. So what this project is going to do is it's going to empower them, boost their productivity. And at the end of the day, this would help to lower the number of imports that are coming into the country. If you notice somewhere around the Cannabis Avenue, you will see crates of eggs. They will write local eggs. And they are very cheap to some extent. At times they are sold at $2.50. So these are locally produced eggs in the Gambia. And these are the kind of people GIRA is trying to support to make sure that they are empowered to the next level. So throughout the tour, they are targeting various farmers in various regions. That is why in every part of the tour, they present checks of close to 3 million, 4 million. It depends on the number of people they are willing to help, and equally as well the size of the constituency. So I think it's a very important step and a very important initiative that the president and international partners are spearheading. And equally as well, Mr. Balde, I forgot to mention that the president also visited project site at the Yao Health Post. It's a new latest health center that is already under construction. It's at the finishing level for now. And when completed, it is expected to house modern medical facilities, and this is going to boost healthcare delivery in the region, because most of the women have alluded to the fact that when they are pregnant, they go through a lot of challenges, and this is also backed by the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmadullah Samajid. So it's expected to lower the pressure, because most people, when they are in labor, they are usually rushed to Georgetown, and with Georgetown, you would have to cross and come to Georgetown. So usually it takes a lot of time, and only God knows what is going to happen if the ferry is not functioning or if the ferry stops operating at a particular time of the night. So this is a very crucial project that the government has already looked at. Equally as well, they have visited the project site at the at the Wasu Madina TVET Center. It's a mega TVET center that is expected to boost, to help empower young people get into skills development. So these are major projects, and the president is very hopeful that it's part of the key projects of the government, which is geared towards fighting unemployment in the country.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jatta, for... Oh, Jacqueline.
No, it's fine.
Oh, Jacqueline, you have anything for him?
Don't worry, Ousman.
All right.
Wish you all the best in the tour.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us on QTV this morning. Now we're going to proceed. Mr. Mamoudou Mbodj, you've heard Ousman, what he said, Jacqueline. I mean, Ousman updated us as to what is currently happening there.
Right.
Yeah.
Just as he reported on the news yesterday, some of the things that the people said they needed, like we said here. Some people say we need, others will say thank you for this. We've got this. So, that's it.
But why am I receiving another message? Supporters of the NPP and the community members are complaining, grumbling about the president snubbing Farafenye. And he just passed a major community in the country. Probably he did not...
snub?
That's perhaps the wrong term to use.
Right.
Because by using snub, you are ascribing to this action all kinds of motives, not very good ones. The president cannot go to every community.
Right.
That much, I think it's easy to agree on, isn't it? So those communities which he wouldn't be able to go, they wouldn't like it.
No, there are problems.
But then again,
the
remember
problem is,
said
Farafenni, it's a big community.
We have so many big communities.
No,
but
but Farafenni is bigger.
Bojan Sissoham did mention that they cannot go to every community.
Obviously.
But they will choose one settlement that is closer to
all
everybody of them
else.
will come together in one meeting. So that is what maybe perhaps
so my point is you're bound to have people like that saying that.
Exactly.
Right.
All the areas you're going to have others as well.
I understand. But the president cannot go to any community. That is impossible. But considering the proximity of Farafenni and its, geographical nature, when it comes to NBR, except and until if his meetings were held in Kerewan, because Kerewan is the administrative region for NBR, probably, but whatever the case, people will keep complaining, of these things.
Absolutely. And I will say, oh, come on, take it on the chin, sorry, maybe next time he'll pass by. That would be another trip. So I wouldn't make much of that, really.
Thank you, Mr. Mboj. Yeah, so Jacqueline, we'll take a short break. After the break, then we will talk to the team responsible for the face of the UTG. Jacqueline, do compete nga bokasi.
You see, there was this time the face of the media came up. I was working with the FAT network by then. Even before the FAT network, Star TV, they were like, why don't you join? One thing about me, I don't like pageantry. So that's it.
I think
even modeling, people will tell me every day you have the shape, you have the height, but it's not just something that I love.
Oh, you don't love it.
Oh,
going for things that you love.
Do pageantry,
she doesn't love it.
Yeah, it's not something that I fancy. So
okay, so we'll take a short break. After the break, then we'll engage the team. We'll be right back.
First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in! Out.
ndax xam nga ne ak sa Q-Money wallet bi mun ngaa jënda cash power te doo si fay dara mun ngaa jënda bellu tollu si $1,000 jëfandikool ak suñu app bi wala nga dial *323# nga toppa sarta yi busal 3 pour jënda Q power soo paree nga tànn register meter soo paree nga dugal sa meter number bi dial *323# nga toppa sarta yi busal 3 pour jënda Q power busal benn pour tànn app bi nga bëgg a jënda te it di nga bànneexul si free call bu la Qcell di may saay boo dugalee xaalis pour jënda Q power pour am si lu la leer koolal 133 Q Money suñu kalpe
Atenong oro mobile amen keso pura andere Q mobile no yade jamano tenon kadi no webi nafitora golmo tenon mo jogi piji buyi battery on ko balde tati FM radio lampu memory card storage ko sim card ɗiɗi o ƴettata ɓura andirede dual sim dogu joni yaha ka customer care center ji amen soda oɗon mobile $100 rek te a heɓay 3 minitaji ɗi anduɗa a wowlay te non a heɓay kadi ko ɓura andirede 3 SMS te a yoɓata hay hunde ɓe sendanama ɗum e nder lebbi tati si tawiɗa faala hen ko laaɓi noddu Qcell customer care e 111 Qcell suñu boss minen udditi laawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki ɗum no yaadi e sartaji
Felenting
You are watching QTV this morning. Now let's move to the last segment of this program. Jacqueline, as I said, we'll be talking to the team responsible for the Face of Gambia. And
Face of UTG.
Face of Gambia. Why is it coming to my mind like that? Okay, Face of UTG, rather.
Right.
Yes, so we have...
Right. Mr. Gentleman, introduce yourself to your viewers and
Okay, hello everyone. Hello Gambia. Hello QTV. I am Abu Jabi. I am a creative director and I am the official production manager for the Face of the University of the Gambia.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Jabi, for joining us on this morning program. And tell us, Face of UTG, when one hears it, they'll be like, Face of UTG, are they going to use someone's face for a logo or something? So tell us about the Face of UTG.
Okay, the Face of UTG was established in 2011.
Okay.
It was named, its first name was the Ambassadors.
Okay.
The first winner was Teneng Jide, a former journalist.
I know, right.
Yeah, as time went by, they changed the name to the Face of UTG. And there was a moment that it stopped due to maybe organization problems and stuff.
Okay.
But this is my 6th year producing the event.
Oh, wow.
I started producing the event when I was at the university. And after completing my university education, I was like, okay, I will still give back to the school because this pageant opened a lot of doors for me and also impacted my life and the life of other young people in one way or the other.
How thoughtful.
So yeah, so Face of UTG is a very inspirational pageant that is not just on build, like you said. They are not going to use any face on billboards and stuff, but this is a very inspirational pageant that does not only look at the beauty or fashionable people or not, but it also talks about societal problems. These contestants, last week they were doing their project presentations, their platform presentations.
Okay.
Some people were talking about drug abuse, some were talking about period poverty, some were talking about like the bagway journey, and they did very well in that preliminary round. So they talk on issues that affect the society, societal issues that affect people. So these are things that people really have a misconception of, because if they just hear about beauty pageant, they start to think of, okay, like you should be tall, you should be slim, you should be beautiful, but it is not. This is a beauty with a purpose contest, and you should not just be beautiful, but you should be confidently beautiful with a heart.
Right. I like the fact that they're taking the things that are happening in society to talk about on their platforms. You talk about drug abuse, you talk about the backway journey, migration. These are things that people talk about every day on a daily basis. What do we expect during this pageantry?
Well, I spent sleepless nights drawing concepts for this pageant. To me, this is the best production that I have ever produced so far, because I am also the producer of the Miss Gambia pageant.
Oh, wow.
Oh, then I'm right, said Miss Gambia.
Yes.
Right.
This is so dear to my heart because this year the middle act is the highlight of the show. So this year the middle act is going to be based on the bagway. Irregular migration.
Okay.
So these are things, every year we do have a team. That last year we talked on SGBV. Sexual and gender-based violence. So this year, the middle act, it is the highlight of the show. Everybody comes to witness that act because too much energy is invested in that act. Okay. And this year we are talking about, we are acting about the irregular migration, which has killed a lot of young people this year.
Right.
And I think with the required sensitization we can do, because this event is a national event now. The Face of UTG has won the Pageant of the Year award in 2 consecutive years.
Wow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So this
okay.
So this is what I should be proud of, not only me, but the team, the University of the Gambia, the students, because it is a pageant that is loved by everybody now.
Right.
Yeah. So,
so if it's upcoming, you don't need to ask because it's all over social media,
all over social
status, TikTok, WhatsApp, whatever.
And it started somewhere. Yeah. So what are the core values that these contestants seek to promote?
Yeah. What do you look forward to the contestants?
Okay, you have various rounds, and for the first time in the history of the Gambian pageantry, we are introducing a new round, which is the top model round.
Okay.
Fingers crossed, I don't know if it will work, but I was like, okay, Gambia now should start representing, contestants to start representing Gambia in international pageants like Miss World, Miss Universe.
Right.
So these are rounds that are that they're supposed to do when they go there. So I was like, okay, let me try and introduce this round so that Gambia can get used to it.
And what's that?
That is the top model round.
Okay.
It is a round that like it's not the normal way of pageant catwalk.
Okay.
It's a model walk.
Okay.
And you wear clothes that that you have inspirations from.
Okay.
Maybe you can have inspirations from, let's say, you can design an outfit that is based on period poverty, irregular migration and stuff. So the audience can have the access to buy those clothes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So this is an idea that I brought, and I think with the help of people, it is going to work. And other things that we promote in the face of UTG is cultural diversity, because we have a round that is entirely based on their cultures, their various tribes, their traditional outfits, just to let people know that pageantry is very modest and unique. Right now in Miss Universe, the beauty queen that represented them from Somalia is a full hijab.
Right, I saw that.
Yes,
Right.
it's a full hijab, and she
Right.
was lucky to be part of the top 20 or top 10. You know, they had now allow plus-size models.
Right.
They now allow married women. So these are things that the misconceptions was there, because they were like, okay, pageantry, so them you danga naked, and you know, so that is not it. Yeah, you know. So now people are aware of the importance of pageantry, because it is really shaping a lot of lives and impacting people, and like they are winning like very big prizes in it now. So that is why young people are really interested in it now.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So we are also going to look at their various talents, and they are going to be asked on-the-spot questions that because it's the face of the University of the Gambia.
Right.
So you should be smart.
You have to be smart.
Yeah, those
right.
questions are not going to be given to them. So that is where we are going to choose our winners neck. That is where we see, okay, this person can handle tough questions on the spot. So, yeah.
Yes, so that is what it is. So how do you invest on the impact of this pageantry on both the contestants and the audience?
How do I invest?
Envision, like how do you, how is it going to impact these people?
Yeah, like I said, the platform presentation, so many organizations came, and most of them were inspired to the extent they want to support those individuals to further implement their project. Yes. A contestant was talking on a topic, and the contestant was directly speaking to me, because Dunda Nako, you know, and other people in the hall also were like, you can see so many people crying that day.
Wow.
I saw that, because so many people were talking on issues that, especially the person who was talking on irregular migration. There was a guy whose two of his brothers lost their lives.
Oh. Wow.
So this is the importance of this pageant, because at least it is not just to entertain, but to educate people, the masses who are there.
And I like the fact that the pageant is not just a one-night thing, because we have pageants that are just a one-night thing.
Yeah.
But this is like, you have preliminary rounds and stuff. Tell us more about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
the
nice.
preliminary round, the Gambia is not used to that.
We're not, yeah.
So I brought that thing this year and said, okay, let me try, maybe it can work, and it worked. The university auditorium was full in capacity, and people loved it.
Oh.
So this is why I said we must try to create and take risk. If not, our creative industry will not go. So I tried that. I was like, okay, let me try, because Miss Universe does that, Miss World does that,
Right.
Miss Globe does that. So I was like, okay, let me try it and see whether it will work. But it worked, and another pageant organization can try it. And it will work, because people have already seen that it has worked with the face of UTG. So they can also try it in their various pageants.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so the competition is not just only on the preliminary to first day of training is where the competition starts. Because we look at your attitude, we look at your comportment, we look at your, whether you have values that qualifies you to be called a queen. Because as a queen, you should not just be beautiful, you should not just be smart, you know, but you should be I don't even know the word to call it.
Qualities.
You should be open.
Right.
Yeah, you should be there for everyone.
There must be a very good interpersonal skill.
Very good interpersonal skills to qualify you to be called a queen. So these are all the qualities that I look at because I am the head trainer. So I look at all these qualities and pass it to the judges. So the judges will take that, accumulate that to the preliminary rounds and the finals, so they can determine the winner.
Yeah, so this seems to be a very, I mean, it involves a lot of things. I mean, how long and what time does it take you to execute an event of this magnitude?
1 month.
Okay.
Yes. 1 month. It takes me 1 month. The whole training takes me 1 month, but at least the whole implementation of the event will take me, let's say, 2 months, because I will use the whole month to start writing concepts and seeing what new things I can add up to, you know, and stuff. So at least 2 months. Yeah, with the required support and funding, I can organize the Face of UTG or another pageant.
And I like the fact that you did mention that you don't need to be slim, beautiful. You can even be plus size. Like I watch Ghana's Most Beautiful.
Exactly.
The queens there, mind you, not all of them are slim like me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We have very plus size. They're not even that average tall to like the size of a model. You just have to have the brain, you know, because Ghana's Most Beautiful, to be honest, is one of the most competitive that I watch. The most competitive Miss pageantry that you would ever watch. And I like the fact that you're coming up with that idea, like you don't need to be slim, you can even be plus size to compete. Because you're not looking at the beauty, but beyond.
Yeah, you know, I'm a victim of it because I was a model and I once won the Mr. Gambia pageant.
Oh, really?
Yes,
okay.
in 2020.
I was going to ask you if the male students are going to participate.
It's a Miss and a Mr. UTG.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's both male and female.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so we started doing that in 2022 and because they were like, okay, why is it only ladies? Okay.
Gender balance.
The gentlemen were not seeing themselves in it.
Right.
So we brought it. Yeah, so I was bullied, I was discriminated, and they were like, "Kidafa rape or definitely." Yes. You know the Gambian society, how it works. So I defy all odds and went to win the biggest male pageant in this country. Mr. Gambia.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, these are things that I say, okay, now it is time to break the barriers and you know, accept every individual with the way they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Oh, that's impressive.
Sorry for what you went through. It's not easy to be bullied.
Oh, no, it's
not. But I was there. I understand.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry for that.
But I mean, you always try to stand tall once you are bullied.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's talk about the judges. I mean, are they equipped enough?
Right, and how transparent are they going to be?
Judges?
The preliminary round, the judges were very tough. We brought very tough judges, and it was very hard for them to even score high marks. Yeah. So as for me, the judges that I bring in competitions are well equipped and are well diverse in what they do. You know, I don't just bring judges that are just in the fashion industry. No, you bring judges that are well equipped in culture and tradition. You bring judges that are well equipped in talent development, like actors, vocalists, you know, there. You bring entrepreneurs, fashion entrepreneurs, or even entrepreneurs that can see beauty and palm. They know, okay, this is a queen. You bring them. You bring top models, supermodels, because we will be doing some supermodel thingy. You bring them, you know. So the judges are going to be diverse in their in their all walks of life. So they are going to be well diverse and very fair. Free and fair judging, because they don't even know the judges.
Okay.
Yeah, they will see them that exact day. They will not even know this is judging or this is judging.
Right.
Yeah. So it's going to be very free and fair.
So tell us about the big night. When is it?
It's on Saturday. It's just around the corner.
This Saturday?
23rd.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
23rd of November.
Venue?
The venue is at Cannabis Beach Hotel, Jama Hall.
Jama Hall.
Yeah, Jama Hall.
Nice.
So can I tell you the ticket price?
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
Why
so
not?
at least if you're watching, they can support, because let me tell you another important thing about this pageant. I benefited from this pageant because with the proceeds that they get from this pageant, they pay tuition fees to students that cannot afford it. So the University of the Gambia Students Union paid a whole semester for me, my last semester, through this pageant. So I know the importance of this pageant. With every dollar that you put in, you're impacting another life.
Another life, true, that's true.
So yeah, the pre-sale tickets are out. It is $450. So the gate tickets are $600. VIPs is going for $1,000. If companies want to buy a table, table is $50,000. Yeah, they can reach out so we can sell tables to them to support vulnerable students that cannot afford.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Jacqueline.
Balde li amut dañ ma invite da nga
jëna ticket.
Amut na dañ la invite. Da nga yeen poli da nga ñëmé ko comme ko invite what do invite follow me ya. Amut.
Why dinañ try ñu dem.
Exactly.
Generation go promission na ñu fi.
Waaw waxon way haji suma len won.
Waaw.
Abi yoon mom try len ngeen ñëw.
Exactly. Dañu try. Yeah, so viewers, this is all we have for you. We're wrapping up the week for today. Thank you very much. Thanks to our director, the camera crew, the executive producer, Francis, and Jacqueline Coley.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Jabi.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.